Hi there everyone, it is currently the evening of the 1st of October 2011. Meteorologist Robert Spuddy here with you once again with WesternPacificWeather.com. Out here in the Western Pacific today, though, we continue to closely watch Typhoon Nalgae here moving off towards the west and away from the Philippines, or actually Typhoon Quiel, depends on if you're from the Philippines or using the international name out here. It currently is packing winds of upwards of 105, gusting up to 130 knots, so still a Category 3 typhoon with pressure of 950 HPA moving off towards the west and away from the Philippines, yet there still is a lot of inflow going into the center of the system, and it is continuing to bring rain showers across the region. Meanwhile, though, you do have another invest out here towards the east, an Invest 90 Whiskey that is spinning up here just north of Palau, and that does have potential for developing and following up with this system. Does not look very promising at this time, though, as it is very disorganized. Got a lot of wind shear buffeting it on the northern periphery. At the very least, though, if it does fall behind our typhoon out here, it will bring some rain showers in the coming week. And also off the map, here to the west, we also have the remnants of Typhoon Nesat moving across Vietnam today, bringing a lot of rain showers out there and widespread reports of flooding out there as well. And also noting up here towards the north, you do have this trough low pressure extending here south of Honshu, and behind that is a cold surge that's going to be moving down here towards it in the coming days, bringing high pressure and fair weather with it, but also cooler temperatures. And also another thing I do want to note with this cold surge coming down with all this high pressure is going to put the typhoon more or less towards a west-southwest direction, likely going to be skirting southern Hanoi here instead of actually making landfall in the long range. So we're going to dive a little bit more into the typhoon right now. As it moves away from the Philippines, still packing those Category 3 winds out there, though. It did make landfall this morning near Isabela, actually showing the satellite image just prior to landfall as a super typhoon out there. A very well-defined eye, packed of those Category 3, or excuse me, Category 4 strength winds at landfall, and continues to pummel the entire region. Actually, widespread reports of flooding out there. About 24 towns have been completely inundated out there in northern Luzon. Currently, though, there is 12 reports of deaths out there in Luzon as well, so really sad news coming out of that. And also, still several people still missing as this time as well. Also, do want to note this is coming in the wake of approximately a week ago. We had the Typhoon Nesat that ran through this region as well, and still upwards of 50 deaths reported out of there, and 31 still missing. So really sad news coming across Luzon right now. But actually, I want to go back to this water vapor imagery I was showing here before, and noting earlier, there's still a lot of moist air coming into the center of the circulation, coming out from the east here, actually feeding off of that invest area that was over here, located just off towards the north of Palau. Well, a lot of moisture is still coming in. You still got a lot of moisture coming in from the South China Sea as well, and a little bit of dry air actually starting to work its way in from the north. That is associated with that high pressure up there towards the north, and that is going to start to weaken the system. And also that dry air combined with an increase in vertical wind shear, as shown on this tropical chart right in here, just showing this streamline analysis, or excuse me, showing the wind shear analysis, upwards of about 20 to 30 knots here out ahead of the system, and anything above 15 knots is really not conducive for development. So all that shear associated with that high coming in from the north, actually if you look way up here, you got about 120 knots up here over Korea. Well, all that's going to start moving down and cause the system to gradually weaken as it follows its overall background flow off here towards the west, likely skirting southern Hanoi here before moving off towards Vietnam, where this is going to bring not needed rainfall across Indochina, as that entire area has been seeing very severe flooding here in the last several months. But also the Philippines, hopefully we'll get a break here before a lot of that moisture starts to flow up here towards the northwest from that invest down in here. Good news at this time, though, it does look like it's going to follow that flow, but I don't think that invest will form up into anything severe. But looking at the model analysis for Nalgae, they have become a little bit more into a line, but still a wide disparity here in long range at exactly where it would make landfall here across Vietnam and then on into Laos. But overall, though, as I noted earlier, that center location where those highest winds are, that is not really going to be the main threat from this storm as it moves over to the region, but it's going to be the very intense rainfall and the potential for severe flooding out here, as this entire area is definitely already saturated, and all that rainfall is going to want to stay on the surface of the earth and not get soaked into the ground, and that's going to cause that more risk of flooding out there. But here's a look at JTWC's track on this. They do show a gradual decrease in intensity due to that vertical wind shear out there before it continues to track off towards the west, likely making landfall north of Hue, Vietnam here. And looks like it's going to skirt southern Hanoi as they definitely don't need any more rainfall as well, since they just saw Typhoon Nesat move across the island here less than a week ago as well. Good news though, looks like it's going to remain well south of Hong Kong. As we've seen with the last storm though, those gale force winds still could potentially affect the Hong Kong region there. Definitely on Victoria's Harbor will be a choppy day out here on Monday into Tuesday. But looking on to JMA's analysis and outlook on this storm, they're also continuing expected to move off towards the west, moving south of Penang as well, likely making that landfall out near Hue, Vietnam in the long range. But I do want to move the satellite picture out here a little bit farther towards the west, and you can see this monsoonal flow across all of Indochina and extending down into Thailand, where there has been a severe flooding down there as well, and many reports of deaths across that entire country due to this monsoonal season. But you do have the remnants of Nesat out here over Vietnam. You can kind of see that swirl in the clouds, a little circular pattern right there. Well, that is the remnants moving off here towards the northwest and up into China, while you have the very strong Category 3 Typhoon Nalgae here moving off towards the west following that storm as well. But that is all for right now, everybody. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please post them in the comment box below. And also, if you have any reports or any pictures or videos that you took out here in Luzon as the typhoon passed by, please feel free to share them with us here at westernpacificweather.com. You can either post them in the comment box or email me here at westpacweather@gmail.com. So stay safe out there, everybody. Hope if you're watching this video, you fared well through the storm here. And if you do have any good stories, please share those as well. So thanks again, and continue to stay safe, everybody.